Welcome back to Newsday. Thank you so much for staying with us. Going back now to the by-elections in Nigeria, we'll be crossing now to our correspondent in Ebonyi State, Emeka Monye. He's been standing by in Isheke polling unit 003, Obiozara Ward, Buru, Ohozara LG, Ebonyi South Senatorial Zone to give us a situation report. Hello, Emeka. Can you fill us in what exactly is the pulse like this morning as people of Ebonyi State conduct their by-elections?
All right, thank you very much, Feito. We are presently in Ishike Ward Polling Unit 003 here in Ohazora local government area, Ebonyi South, where one of the by-elections is taking place. Of course, earlier today we went around some of the local governments in this senatorial zone 5 specifically, and to monitor the position, the development regarding the conduct of today's election. Initially, we spoke with an INEC official who told us that there were some little bit delayed due to logistic issues, and so far so good. We've seen a mixture of low turnout, high turnout depending on the location that you visit, and while some are complaining that the situation looks very okay, a few others are not really so particular about the election. And for the candidates, it's a mixture of complaint and satisfaction. Some are alleging voter buyout, harassment by thugs and security agencies. Some are even saying that INEC, they are accusing, they are alleging the Independent National Electoral Commission, that is INEC, and the police security agencies of conniving with the ruling party to make sure that the election goes in their favor. If you look behind me now, you can see people still casting their vote, which shows that in this particular ward, the turnout seems to be quite impressive, even though one of the candidates, who is the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Silas Onu, who joins me live to talk more about his impression about this election. Good afternoon, Mr. Silas. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Fine, thank you. So far, you're one of the candidates for this election, representing the People's Democratic Party. So far, so good. What's your assessment about the conduct of this election so far?
Well, we've had hopes that the election, being an off-season election, will be one that will be very secured. INEC will be more organized, and people will vote freely. But sadly, that is not the case. Right before this election, INEC, the REC, have been compromised. The REC particularly aided and abetted litigation against the PDP just to create confusion, to say PDP is not on the ballot. They went and procured the judgment, which we have appealed, so we're still on the ballot. But you can imagine that INEC staff are the ones telling people that PDP is not on the ballot, yet we are on the ballot. If you go to Onitsha local government, the place is deserted. I'm sure you passed through there, because that is the lie they told to people. So people didn't come out to vote because they wanted to vote for PDP. Now, in Obiozara Ward here, people came to vote in my polling unit here. But right before everybody, they pay for votes, 5,000 naira for vote. And they've been sharing money. They don't hide it. They drag people. You were here, and I'm sure you saw it, how they even go and print ballots for people in the cubicle. They're not hiding it. We called on security. They came. They saw it. The DSS people reported the same thing. And they said that sadly there's nothing they can do unless if our own people can come and engage them in an open fight. Why should we do that? If the state cannot stop crime, why should we get engaged in fighting in the polling unit so that they'll say, this one brought his thugs to disrupt polling unit. So whatever is going on here today is a sham, I can tell you.
In other words, are you saying that you're not so hopeful about victory in today's election?
If people were allowed to vote, and let me tell you also, in many of the polling units in my community here, people vote. I'm the only person running in this community, so you can imagine why Umahi, who is from here, drove and parked here, the Minister for Works, and gave out money just this morning. Released money everywhere. He's been going around polling units, dropping more money for them. because he want to be able to brag and say he won his community for APC. But he didn't win. He's stealing the vote. That is what is happening. He's stealing the vote, and this is not an election. If you pay people, you compel people, places where they vote for us, you come and invalidate the ballot by printing on another party just so it's invalid. That is what is happening. At the end of this election, I can assure you, the accreditation by beavers will be far less than the ballot, because there were people printing behind the building there earlier. And there are 4 polling units in this particular location. The people were printing behind. We get all the situation report. The next polling is here. They have asked them to stop using the beavers and just give people ballot paper.
Okay, let me talk to you once again. This question is, from the way you sound, you seem not to be impressed with the conduct so far. And beyond today, what next?
Well, one will say election litigation is becoming a waste of time, because I've seen how judges behave. Even prior to this election, a judge gave a bizarre judgment, one that even a primary school student that has knowledge of Electoral Act will not give. The Electoral Act has said the court cannot stop the holding of primaries. Essentially, the judge ordered that primaries should not hold. And that people who did not participate, didn't even buy form for anything, the judge said they have a right to complain about our primaries. The Electoral Act is clear, Section 84:14. Only someone who physically participates in the primary election can question it. These are people who call themselves intending delegates. Here, the man said they have, that they have locals to challenge the election. So seeing things like this, you wouldn't want to be wasting your time with the judiciary. But then, we will look at the situation. There are other angles we can come from. We will still consider going to court from other angles, but not on the conduct of election, because it's a waste of time.
What's a rough estimate of the total number of registered voters in this polling unit?
This polling unit has about 250 registered voters, but of course, my father is one of them. He is late now. A lot of people that are registered here are late, so plus and minus, you would not have more than 150 people voting here.
Thank you very much, Barrister, for taking time to share more light on your experience on today's election. And Phaeton, back to you in the studio.
All right.
Okay, very good, Emeka. But just before you go, those are strong allegations by your respondent there. But do you think there was enough sensitization just before the elections in the area where you are in Ebonyi? Do you think people were actually aware of this election, these reruns?
Yeah, honestly speaking, I can't really say, because we breezed in last night and we really could not say whether there were enough sensitization. But during our trip throughout the cities, this particular 5 local government area, what we saw were, be it visible, were billboards placed at strategic locations that perhaps could have given us an idea if truly they sensitized the people about the election. But in terms of all the local media channel of communication, the local broadcast stations, the radio, the TV, one cannot really too specific. But from my own observation, I noticed one thing: we have sufficient billboards announcing, advertising the candidates for this election.
All right, then. Thank you so much, Emeka Moye, our Rice correspondent in Ebonyi State. I'll continue to monitor the by-elections, and we'll check in with you again shortly.